Provo, Utah. This is the Ultimate Final Fantasy Podcast with your hosts, Joseph DeGolier and Caleb Schweiss. This is Ultima Final Fantasy. Welcome to another episode of Ultima Final Fantasy, the Ultimate Final Fantasy Podcast. I am Joe.
I am Caleb.
And we're going to continue our Final Fantasy IV, the After Years review.
But first, a message from our sponsors.
Oh?
No, we don't fucking have any sponsors.
Okay. All right. Well, if you want to sponsor the show, give us an email.
Yeah.
We got hundreds of thousands of downloads, and
yeah, and it's a backlog. We'll try to fit you in where we can, but whatever. So yeah, last time we talked about the game's gameplay and story aspects.
Very positive with both aspects, by the way.
Yeah, I feel so.
Yeah. And today we're going to be talking about design. Kind of the more intricate levels of the game, I guess. Design, music, legacy. We're going to answer your questions, and we're going to give the show a ranking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know where I'm going to put it.
Or the game a ranking. Did I say show?
You did say show, you fuck.
What the fuck is wrong with me? But first, some plugs.
Find us.
At
on
YouTube.com. Are you okay?
Yeah, no,
I'm like, what the fuck?
Pausing for effect. YouTube.com/Ultima Final Fantasy. Find our page on Facebook. Facebook.com/Ultima Final Fantasy. You can support us on Patreon. $1 a month gets you the episodes early, and you also get bonus content occasionally. We did a drunk Final Fantasy VII Advent Children viewing, recorded it. Enjoy.
Yes. Twitter, you can find me at Joseph DeGolier. That's DEGOLYER.
Me at UFF Podcast.
And, of course, everything can be found, including our nice little Amazon link you can click through, at ultimafinalfantasy.com. Please join our forums, talk about the games, ask us questions, give us discussion points, everything, please.
Yeah, we love it.
Like we love it when we see a lot of forum activity.
The community,
that feels good.
The community aspect of this is literally the best part.
It's the only part.
Yeah, it really is, isn't it?
Is,
unless it's just two jack-offs playing a video game series.
You want to get up after 4 hours of sleep and talk on a mic for 2 hours about After Years?
No is the answer. No. But we will because you guys want us to.
Yeah, exactly.
And we love it.
I admit I do like to talk, though, so I do get some pleasure.
I feel like they may have guessed that.
Oh, what?
I don't know for sure, though. But now it's out there. Joe likes to talk.
Joe does like to talk. You can also find our other shows. We co-host a video game show, just everything video games. That's Nude Clan. Last week we reviewed Game Dev Tycoon.
Yes, we did. Very fun.
That's some pretty cool shit there. You have a podcast, right?
Yeah, it's called Super Sexy Swingin' Fan Fiction, where you can hear all my presidential impersonations in the most recent episode. Well, okay, a couple weeks ago now. It's a lot of fun. We read bad or good, erotic or non-erotic fan fiction. You guys can submit stuff in our forum section there. We'll read it. Yeah, a lot of fun.
And finally, the Godzilla podcast.
Yeah,
should have a commentary up for Mothra.
Oh,
the movie, the 1961 movie Mothra.
Yeah, it's been a while. Of course, you've been sick and.
Well, it's been a while. We had
setbacks.
some setbacks, and you'll hear that on the Godzilla podcast.
Oh, cool.
I'm sure. Schweiss, shall we just move on? Let's get to design.
Let's dive into this motherfucker.
So, Schweiss, who was the artist for Final Fantasy IV: The After Years?
Akira Oguro.
On top of Yosha from Amano's work,
Right, yeah, no, they kept a lot of the same designs. This guy, you may know, but probably not, since you're not a freak. Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within, he was a storyboard artist.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The Final Fantasy IV Nintendo DS, he was an art director for that. Lord of Vermilion 2, card illustrator, and Final Fantasy Dimensions character design. And yeah, of course, character design of After Years.
So he seems to be like the kind of low-level artist.
Yeah, he's like the guy that they have, and they just like toss him on other projects, it seems.
Okay.
Stuff that's like, yeah, this is our name. But
they mostly use the designs from the original game. Most of the environments are the same, at least in the first half of the game.
Right.
They used a lot of stuff from the first 6 games as like a starting off point environmentally, and then of course on top of that though we have a couple new environments and we have some new character designs, the mysterious girl, some original bosses like the creator, and so yeah. Schweiss, what do you think of the design of the game on our PSP version, which is of course different from the computer version and different from, I'm sure, the Wii and the mobile phone version? Right.
I didn't even look at those versions as for retrospective on that, but I thought this game looked pretty good. There was never a problem. There's never anything that stood out that I was like, they could have done that better. Admittedly, there is a lot of rehashing of areas, but that's a given. I mean, it's the same world.
Yeah, exactly.
It's literally the same world, so there's not a problem there. I mean, the moon was different, obviously, because it's a different entity.
Moon,
yeah. And a lot of the same bosses, a lot of the same random enemies. I think the game looked great. I thought the meteor spell was phenomenal. The first time I saw that,
the animation for it,
yeah, it's fucking legit. All right, the way it combines with the sound and
how much
all
of the
that,
summons did you use?
I used Bahamut, Asura, Leviathan.
Okay, because summon animations to me in this game on the PSP version, just like they were in the FF4 PSP version,
awesome.
They're awesome. Yeah, exactly.
They are loud and in charge with their sweet little animations. I thought that was cool. I think the characters look great. Everything in this game is crisp, very crisp. I noticed this when, obviously, right from the get-go, I was like, wow. Everything's so shiny. Like, the helmet is just shiny. A shiny helmet. I love a shiny helmet. And,
what's great is you played the original 4 on the PlayStation. Yeah. And so, of course, you had like the fucked up AV cables going into the HD television.
Yeah.
And then it was already kind of an old game that hasn't been cleaned up.
Does not look good, yeah.
So it has its old sprites and everything like that. And so you get like this murky picture of the Final Fantasy IV.
I swear.
Admittedly, I think still does look better than Final Fantasy V.
Yeah. We go into that.
And we went into that in the original 4 or the original FF5 review.
Right.
But yeah, the PSP version, I think it looks better than the 3D version. Just like aesthetically to me, I think it looks better. And this After Years looks exactly like the Final Fantasy IV.
Yeah, I mean, I was even like, I went upstairs and like showed my roommate Dwayne. I was like, dude, look at this. Look how awesome this looks. Look at Final Fantasy IV on my PlayStation Portable. This looks crazy good.
Yeah.
I was very impressed with it. I like all the, the Faraga spell animation, the holy spell animation, very detailed, very movement oriented.
I would like, instead of these 3D remakes that they keep doing, I would like Square Enix, if they're actually listening to me, which they're not, I would like them to just take whatever team designed this for the PSP and be like, you guys, okay, we're not going to have people whine about the sprites like they did with the FF5 and FF6 on the Steam release. You guys are in charge now, okay? And if they were in charge of the first 6 games and their re-releases on newer systems,
you'd get it.
You'd get a beautiful version of the game.
Yeah, and I mean,
where it's still the same game.
It is, and the translation was a lot better too. I mean, even the text box, the way it looks. And this is something we're weirdly obsessed with over Final Fantasy XI. It just is like this thing that just blends in, and you're like, I do not give a fuck. The 4 I played on PS1, very much that way. Words that have like lowercase letters for a name. I'm like, what the fuck? Hit shift, you lazy piece of shit. Like, why? Why? Medio, you couldn't fit the fucking R. I know you can fit the R because the next sentence is longer than that one. You could fit it.
I know.
But this one was great. I really enjoyed the way it looked. The crystals, the video in the beginning. I mean, holy shit.
Yeah.
It looks great.
Yeah, that's for the collection, but
Yeah, there's the intro to 4, and then there's the intro to After Years, of course, and it just looks stunning to me. I don't know. I'm very impressed.
great. I think this is the version to play. I haven't even played the 3D version, but I've seen it.
It does look good.
And I
but
really don't like the art style of the 3D remakes of the 2D games so much, and they did it for both After Years and FF4 and FF3.
yeah, they did. Yeah.
FF3 looks a little different, I guess, but it still kind of has that look to it. I really think that the PSP version of After Years and of Final Fantasy IV, not only are they the smoothest to play, they just look great.
Yeah, and like the animation for the battles, like the screen cracking and just shattering, that looks awesome.
Yeah.
It's exciting to get into a battle now because it's like, it's almost like 10, but 10's is like this, this like scary thing that happens.
Yeah, the battle transitions. It's just it's a great looking handheld title.
Yeah, I really liked it a lot, and yeah, fuck, I don't think there's really anything else to say about that.
Yeah, good design. Let's move on to music.
Good job, guys. Well, this game was arranged at the very least by Junya Nakano.
I would like to say, though, you can go into the menu as far as like the musical score for the game. You can go into the menu and change it to the original Final Fantasy IV soundtrack.
Right. It's not quite as impressive. I mean, they've really revamped it for this version, and it sounds great. But if you do wish, you can.
I changed it over.
You did?
Yeah, I did.
I kept it the new orchestrated version. But he did
they
compose.
both sound great.
They do. He did compose a few other songs. This guy is kind of an under the radar kind of guy. I mean, it seems like he comes in. He did some composing and arranging in Final Fantasy X, but I'm seeing 13 for arrangement. I'm seeing the DS.
Oh, so he's like one of those guys working in the sound department.
Yeah, just like the last guy for
Okay.
design. He's like one of those dudes. He did 10.2 and 10's HD remaster. He arranged that. So we can thank him for the differences in the tunes, I'm sure, which I barely fucking noticed in 10, to be honest. I just was like, oh, yeah, that's a good song.
Yeah.
I remember this. And then I look at the original, I'm like, oh, it is different, but not worth really freaking out about
Not different enough.
or mentioning, really.
But yeah, the music from the original Final Fantasy IV is, of course, fantastic.
Yeah, I was reminded of that immediately.
Exactly. Going back into the game after like 2 hours, I'm like, Jesus, I remember all these things. Like, I remember how good the score is in Final Fantasy IV. And you know, when we've been talking about like our favorite Final Fantasy soundtracks, I don't think I ever mentioned Final Fantasy IV's soundtrack.
Yeah, it fell by the wayside almost unjustly.
It did. Unjustly, I don't think it's better than 6's or 7's or the good tracks of 10's soundtrack. But I do think it is a very solid, very good soundtrack.
Yeah, I'd say it's at least after those ones, if not on par with 10's. I don't know, the new track, we only have one new track, and we'll play a little bit of it.
One new track
on the episode, the arrangement for The Mysterious Girl. It's like this eerie, sort of outer worldly theme song that plays. That's the only new one.
Is that the only new one?
I do think it is. Yeah, it's the only added track to the game, and I thought it was legit. I think it fit perfectly with the weird spacey kind of vibe that the game was setting off.
Well, let's say we listen to about a minute of that, shall we?
Yeah. And by one new track, I of course mean one of 10. Yet we don't really know. I can't find anything on what 10.
Yeah.
I'm sure we could look inside the game itself and see the differences between the two. But it felt like a very Final Fantasy IV soundtrack.
It's true. It fit perfectly.
And that's why the only one I really for sure noticed was the theme that comes when the mysterious girl shows up.
Yeah.
And also it's called like getting the summons back or something similar to that, retrieving the summons. It's that kind of musical piece continued on.
Yeah,
like
it's all
paced.
variations of the theme or whatever.
Yeah, and I think it's a great addition to the game, and I love the way everything sounds.
Yeah.
Like the soundtrack, like we said, you get
Soundtrack's great.
Fabools.
The
fucking
sound
epic.
design is great in the game.
Yeah, the little crystal noise.
I never had a problem with anything. So, shall we talk about? Actually, you know what, Schweiss,
What?
we should answer some questions. Dealing with FF4 after years. You ready?
Yeah. I'm ready. All right, so we have a few questions here posted by our great forum members here. The first one is titled FF4, the After Years question, of course. Final Dungeon Party. Well, bam, already done.
We already did that one.
Mine was Rosa, Rydia, Edge, Kane, and Cecil.
Rosa, Rydia, Edge, Golbez, and Theodore.
I would have had Golbez instead of Rydia.
Yeah, except that Golbez decided to die on.
Yeah, he did, which was very disappointing, yet at the same time, bittersweet and cool that they added that as a feature. So,
Yeah.
Thank you for asking, Shinru. Looks like Shinru's got a couple more.
Okay, just go for him.
Thoughts on the final dungeon and the final dungeon music?
There are 3 final dungeons. The dungeon music, they might be composed by the new guy, but I don't really remember anything sticking out.
Yeah, it all felt right,
I
so
gotta
that's
say
what
with
makes
the
it
music.
tough.
Final dungeon's crazy. Yeah, there's 30 floors, and basically every 5 floors, it switches its sort of look.
Yeah, it gets a different look. It's like Diablo-esque in that way.
Yeah, kind of actually.
Yeah.
And then you have save sites along the way, and then every few floors there's a save site next to an elevator.
Yeah, the interdimensional elevator.
The interdimensional elevator that'll take you up to your ship or to the previous store owner somewhere in the middle of the moon.
I wonder what the elevator music is like in the world of Final Fantasy.
I don't know.
It's
That's a
probably
good
epic.
point.
It's like FF10's battle theme in their elevator. Oh, this is weird.
It's like a jazzy kind of version of it.
Yeah.
Though.
All right, so did you have any trouble in the final dungeon, and did you beat all the bosses on the way down?
Yes, I did
and
not
no.
beat the super bosses, including Shinru. I am sorry to say.
Yeah.
I did not beat Shinru. I stayed the fuck away from him.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. Thoughts on the final boss? Were you crazy? Were you ever freaked out? Or was it crazy? Were you ever
The
freaked out?
final boss is very cool in this game. It's like a good classic final boss for a main series Final Fantasy
Yeah, just
game.
like fucked up looking and
Yeah, crazy. And of course, there's 3 levels to it. What I really fucking hated was that you couldn't save in between the 10-minute cutscenes. And so, me, of course, retrying the battle 5 times over, super frustrated.
yeah,
And it's a long fight. So every time I had to restart, I was wasting about 30 minutes of my time.
yeah, which is very stressful. I mean, you're trying to get we're trying to get it done because we've had it for so long, and you just keep going and going. It's 2 a.m., 3 a.m. It's
I had to. My final leveling up was in front of that last boss. I had to go up a few floors
right to get enemies again.
to get random enemies again, and that's where I had to level. I leveled to level 65 to beat the fucking game.
Yeah, I thought he was all right. I think I had 1 or 2 people in the 60s. It was tough the first time. And, well, no, the first few times, because I got in, and it was very different for me. First thing he did was he cast Meteor, and it killed everyone but 2 people. Very first time I fought him.
Right.
Second time I fought him, did the same damn thing. Third time, I killed him.
Yeah.
So once I got through the meteor wreckage, I was able to win. So, but it is a very long fight, and it's
So once you got to the 3rd form, you were able to kill him?
I killed him.
Fuck, dude. I had to restart on that 3rd form, I think 3 of the 5 times.
Yeah,
The other 2 times I did die to the 2nd form.
like just randomly because you mastered him the first few times.
Yeah, the night before. Okay, so last night I killed the 2nd guy easily.
Yeah, and I died to him.
Fucking 3, like I think it was 3 times. I think maybe I restarted the boss 6 times.
Yeah, I think you
I
might have.
killed those guys easily.
Yeah,
And but then this morning I was like, fuck. But I changed the moon phase and made it easier for myself later.
oh, okay, yeah, fair enough.
So I was on the wrong moon phase for that guy.
Yeah, did you kill God or the Creator? Yeah, we did. We have to beat the game.
The mysterious girl kind of does
Well,
as
you
the moon's
weaken him,
collapsing, but yeah.
He also asks if his final form reminded us of X-Death's final form in FF5.
Very much.
Sort of, yeah.
No,
Not quite as
no
awesome.
tree.
Yeah, the tree thing was way, way cool in 5, but he is pretty similar.
He's just like a fucked up looking crazy. I think he looks a little bit more like Kefka than.
Like his Kefka's final version?
Yeah, but Kefka's final version is also very unique. So maybe I'm speaking out of my ass. Kind of looks like Sephiroth a little bit.
Yeah.
And that
You just
final on that 3rd final form where he's like up there and he's.
Does he kind of look like Ultimacia too? He's going to
No.
go up the line? Oh, okay.
No, he doesn't look like Ultimacia.
The buck stops at Ultimacia.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fuck you. We're trying to like grab comparisons. I don't know. Like
It's
he's,
tough. I think he just
he's a
fits.
cool looking boss.
Yeah.
Fuck.
So thoughts on the final boss music? Great.
Yeah. It worked
Not as
for me.
epic as other games, like 6's was phenomenal.
Yeah, it's not as I guess it's not as exactly what you were
Not
saying.
as unique, not as like
Not as unique,
insane.
not as iconic.
Yeah, like when in the Garuda fight in 14, that's iconic.
Yeah, I
that
agree.
shit's amazing. This one still good, still fits, but
Yeah.
you know. What did we think of the music of the game? Muller ran over that, bud. Did you find this story to be slightly darker in tone to FF4? This is a good question, and I think it is. FF4 does have some dark themes. I mean, well, I don't know, actually. 4 is pretty fucking dark. Rydia, the stuff with Rydia's village, the stuff with Cain, and it might be on par. The fact that Golbez dies might push it over the top for me. It's based on my experience, but they were both kind of darker games. I mean, I don't know. I always felt that way.
I love these kind of questions where it's like we know what the question asker wants us to say, or what the question asker thinks
Yeah,
as they ask the question.
because they obviously think it is.
Because obviously, like, it's a weird question and a weird wording to say, did you think it was darker than Final Fit? Like, that's a weird question to ask. Overall, darker visually, it was darker, but story-wise, I think you're right. Schweiss,
About the same.
I don't think it was that much darker.
All right.
If any.
That's fair. We have some more questions here.
You know, Golbez can die if you fuck up. So,
It's not really fucking up. I mean,
well, Golbez fucked up, obviously.
yeah, he did by defending his family. All right, so we have a nice little novella here from Cloud of questions. Let's see. The first one, is this an improvement on FF4?
This is something we'll answer at the end of the episode. Keep going.
Is this of the quality of a main series FF game?
For the first, I think it would fit pretty well in the first few.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
first 5 games, I think it would.
Yeah.
It fits.
Yeah.
Do you like the band system, the moon phase system? Yes, on both. The bands were cool. It was fun to figure them out. I didn't print off a list. I just was like, what could go with this?
Fun to do it. I really like the band system. The moon system, I could live without, but it's not bad.
Yeah, I do
And
like
there's
the
some aspects of it near the end where I kind of was using it quite a bit, like I was saying before.
Right. Do you like the freedom of character choices? He thinks all would agree. I think all would agree it's a little too much, but is it nice? Does it make you want to replay the game with different character choices? Let's see. I like the freedom of character choices. I like the ability to tailor parties. I think
do,
that
but
adds to the replay value.
There are obvious parties that you would never use. But then again, you could just restart this quest
And grind those guys.
and try a new party out.
Yeah, it's not. I don't think it's obvious at all that there'd be a party you wouldn't use.
All
I mean,
right.
even if you went,
Well, the Lunarians quest line, right? Is that the quest? There's a quest line right before the last quest,
yeah, it's theirs.
and that one has like Kain and Theodore in it. So it's like Kain and Theodore are going to be higher leveled
Yeah, no, they are. Yeah,
because they're used in 2 different quests. So
yeah, and so it is. It does kind of tailor its way to use it, but you didn't use Kane,
no, I didn't.
and I didn't use Theodore, so that's
Okay,
not
there you go.
necessarily
All right,
true.
you're right. Okay,
Does it make us want to replay the game with different character choices? Not
it
necessarily.
makes me want to move on to Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it does add replay value though. I think it really does.
It would if like there weren't a million other like I can't even think that way anymore
Yeah,
about the Final Fantasy games. Like I don't like sometimes they'll think about a game like, oh, maybe I should replay FF8 or 10 again. So those things do happen to me, but I cannot foresee in the future me going, oh, I need to play After Years again.
yeah. If I did, I would probably do all the side dungeons, and that would give me.
It's worth playing once though. I can say that.
That would give you the final dungeon area with the powered up side characters and make those random team parties, and I'm pretty sure you could beat it just fine.
Okay.
All right, so the one area in which he thought characters were useless is that you had 5 total ninjas, all pretty much the same. Was there any value to this for you? Why does Square have this much of a fixation on ninjas that we needed 4 identical characters? Well, they're Japanese.
Well, you can actually screw yourself over if the ninjas die. Then when you're finally left with Edge at the end, the ninjas don't come in and save you during some of the pre-planned enemies. So,
Right. So if you're bad at the game, this question is just completely on. You don't even know what happens.
there was one ninja. One ninja
Oh,
survived.
okay. One made it. One made it.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't mind it. I don't.
Yeah, I thought it was fine.
If you want to go back through, you can get those ninjas at the end, can't you?
Yeah, you can.
So if you want to go back through, you could be like, I'm going to try the game with all ninjas, kind of like with FF1. I'm going to try the game with all white mages or all thieves.
Yeah, it's just another way to
Yeah.
handicap yourself to see if you can make it.
Yeah.
We're not sure why.
I'm not that type of player that would do that, but there are those people out there.
Right, and a lot of those people were around when this was like the new thing. So if we were playing this straight out the gate, we'd played every other Final Fantasy. This is our FF. I could see us doing that.
Okay.
Could you not? If like the game came out and we were just casually playing it, like, oh, dude, let's do a ninja run or something.
That would be interesting. Like we would bet each other on the ninja run.
If we throw money at it, we'll do it.
I can see that.
So did you find the game too repetitive of FF4?
No, I liked when it was repeating things from FF4. Maybe the bosses, I did feel like because you go through the FF4 bosses before you go through the other Final Fantasy games bosses, I felt like, oh, this is just kind of a rehash. But then it got really interesting. So
Yeah.
that was the only time when I was like questioning the repetitiveness of it.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I actually kind of liked it. I mean, we played FF4 a year ago, maybe a little bit more.
Yeah. It's
And
been a while.
I don't know. I liked going back to that universe without doing the exact same story again.
So did I, and I mean, it is very similar, as we've mentioned. It did seem cash grabby at first, but I don't mind it.
Yeah.
It's whatever. What do you think of the story combined Everyone's Tale method? I like it. I think it's cool. It does drag things out a little bit though. Like the different perspectives don't really matter that much. It's kind of cool to see what's going on in these other areas.
I really hate the fucking way that the PlayStation Portable deals with it, with the saving, and you can save over your other shit.
Yeah,
That was
that's true.
annoying as fuck. I don't know why you can't just have like one save state. Like the game has its own thing, and then I feel like there was a different way they could have coded it so that I didn't have to do that. That was
Okay.
dumb.
All right, so here's another one here. What would your second best party choice be? I.e., give us your preferred best party, because it's absurd to say there is one unique best party. And now they're all captured. What would be your second tier party to come to the
And
rescue?
they're all captured? Fuck, I don't even know if I know everybody's names that wasn't. There'd be Yang and there'd be Kane. There'd be Edward, and then I'd pick like a couple ninjas.
What or would you not do Palom and Porum?
Palom and Porum. There you go.
All right, I would do Palom, Porum, Theodore.
Oh yeah, I'd use Cecil too. Yeah, fuck Edward. I'd use Cecil.
Yeah, I was like, Edward, you
I
motherfucker.
was just trying to remember all. Like, there's a bunch of characters in this game.
It's true, yeah.
And I gotta say, I don't know everybody's names.
No,
they don't spend that much time on them.
Yeah, some of the spin-off ninja dudes, I can't remember. But I would do Palom, Porum, Theodore. I'd throw Yang back in there. Why not? And
That's good damage.
he is. Who would my fifth person be, though? I'd probably throw in a ninja, just because they are glass cannons.
Okay.
So, fuck, the old man ninja, why not? He's awesome.
Elder.
Yeah. Let's see. What would your second tier? Oh, yeah, okay, I get it.
Okay.
Whom would you cut entirely from the story if you had a chance?
Oh.
Was there any character that shit you off?
Edward. I would have cut him out of the original 4 also, though. Edward and Harvey. I don't give a shit.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I thought Harvey was a dude, because I'm playing it on the shitty screen that's pulled from the PSP. And so I had like a dude voice for Harvey. I shit you not.
All I want to do is sing.
Yeah, and then I was like, that is a woman. I don't even care.
I don't know how you got that.
I don't know, but
That's incredible.
I could see cutting Harvey. I don't know. You'd have to cut Edward too, but who would I like to cut? Maybe bring another person into Yang's story. I mean, I realize that's the Fabul monks. You're supposed to see them in action, but I just don't like having all those husk characters that just go away.
Yeah.
It seems kind of hollow. Like if I were to spend time actually dedicating to that storyline to Power Grind, I would only get it for really for Yang.
Okay.
Or at least Yang's the only one in there. It's just him and all his ninjas. Yeah, it's a pure ninja party. So that just feels like kind of a waste to me. So I'd cut one of those ninjas and throw in some random fucker like, Kane. Hooded man is just everywhere.
Yeah, there you go.
Why not? All right, so Gabranth asks, did After Years change your views on FF4 as a whole?
On the background information on the crystals and the creator and stuff like that, which I thought was a very cool change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so too. I agree with that, obviously, as we've heard in part 1. And I have come to accept the problems with 4 in to some light. And I do think this adds to it. It doesn't necessarily change it. I think I've just changed how I viewed what took place in 4 a little better. But
Okay.
I think After Years nicely supplements 4. I think it works. It doesn't necessarily make 4 so amazing that it's it's noticeable, but I do think it is a solid story in itself, and I do really enjoy the stuff with Kane and the stuff with Cecil repeating all the bosses. It's good.
Yeah.
He also asks what your favorite boss battle was.
The ones that I beat quickly.
Yeah.
There was the one guy. Oh shit, I can't remember. Is it Lich? He would cast a whole bunch of magic in a row, like in
Cerberus.
Oh, it's Cerberus. Okay.
Yeah.
And I loved that battle because it just became okay. Cast slow on him, cast reflect on my entire party, and then he would just kill himself with it.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was fun. That was kind of a fun way of dealing with that guy.
Yeah, I just wrecked him straight up, but I do admire the fact that you did that. That was pretty fancy. Like you're like, I got time. I'll do reflect on 5 people.
Well,
Fuck it.
If you do shell first, then it's not as bad, and then
Yeah, well, that's what I did. I just did Shell and then Kirajed every couple turns through haste on. But yeah, that was a cool one.
Okay.
I really liked the creator fight. I mean, it did piss me off the couple times I died, but I thought it was intense. And I ran out of X potions near the end, which was my main way of healing really quickly because it's a lot faster than Kiraja. And I just thought it was a very intense, very quick, rough final boss. And I liked that. I thought it was a great way to seal off the game.
I fucking hated him. I liked his design. The music was cool. Fucking hated the guy.
All right, fair enough.
This is from Crimson Command. Were these sequels necessary? not based on gameplay and fun, but rather story, fans, commercial success, etc. Based upon what I've played, read, and heard, I would say no, but I'm curious if you guys think differently. I don't think they added a single thing to the story, much like 10-2 and Advent Children. I don't see the fascination with sequels that are encore type games. I would rather have the memory of such a solid ending rather than have an Indiana Jones Crystal Skull happened and can't deny it situation. I actually think Temple of Doom is worse than Crystal Skull, but
Easily.
whatever. 4 was good. I mean, we're talking about what's worse. I don't like either of those movies, but I mean, if I'm going to talk about which one I hate more, it's Temple of Doom.
Yeah, it's
4
a
was
shitty
good,
movie.
but I think grouping it with its sequels lowers the overall appeal and ranking. I do not agree with the philosophy that a sequel ruins the first one. That is a stupid philosophy. Because you can always just go back to the first one, and like the first Matrix ended how the first Matrix ended, and you don't if you don't like the sequels to the Matrix, it doesn't fucking matter. You can just keep watching the first Matrix over and over again. It's still wonderful. It's not bad because there were sequels.
Right, but I think I can
That's
see
so dumb. I hate that way of looking. I'm sorry.
I can see it tarnishing it, though, because the creators of it decided, oh, we need more, so let's make more.
It's like we can talk about our love for Star Wars, but why does someone have to feel like, oh, but the prequels ruined it? It's like, no, the prequels didn't ruin the original Star Wars.
Yeah, they didn't.
The original Star Wars is still great, and we can just watch the Jedi. We can watch Star Wars, Empire, and Jedi in a row and be just fine.
Yeah, that's true.
So I don't agree with that philosophy. Was the sequel necessary after years? No.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessary.
No,
I mean,
Final Fantasy IV had a very neat ending with the bow tied, and it didn't really need a sequel.
no, it didn't. It was, I wouldn't say very much over, but definitely done.
Yeah.
I'm not against the fact that it exists, obviously, but I think it's worth playing. I don't think 10-2 diminishes 10. Like, I think 10-2 diminishes the characters that are associated with 10-2, but that's a separate line, and they go off the deep end when 10-2 starts, not when 10 ends.
Well,
So that's
we
kinda how I
might
feel.
change our minds. Who knows?
No,
Twice.
there's no fucking way of that.
Krenital asked favorite dungeon. There's only really one dungeon.
The final one.
There's some caves, but they're not really dungeons.
The final
to me.
dozen.
And I guess there's extra dungeons, but yeah, the final giant moon dungeon, fucking awesome.
Probably the best dungeon in the series, I would almost say.
So far, yeah.
It's good, guys. It's a lot of boss fights.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Favorite character, I would say Kane.
Yeah, I agree. Light Kane.
Kane, okay. Favorite character continuation storyline? Can we just say the same thing, Kane?
I'm actually going to go with Golbez on this.
Oh, that's a good point.
I like how they brought Golbez back into the fold. I mean, he kind of left Cecil. They accepted each other. Cecil accepted him as his brother. It was a touching thing, and I thought the return was cool. I liked Golbez. I liked the fact that he was involved. I liked knowing who that hooded character was, obviously, because we played as him right before he jumped down. And I just liked the continuation of his story and the ending of it for my playthrough. But well, whatever, it was good.
Favorite soundtrack? There's really only one new track, and like
That we recognized.
I think variations of it. I might be wrong about that, but if it wasn't enough to really stand out, I don't really care what the real answer is for that.
Yeah,
I guess Mysterious Girlfriend theme is kind of a de facto
yeah.
favorite soundtrack. Favorite boss, we already talked about that. Most hated enemy, Catoplebus,
Yeah.
as far as like random enemies are concerned, and then Cocknuzzle as far as bosses are concerned.
Okay.
And I think Cocknuzzle was my answer for the original Final Fantasy IV, so
yeah,
it's
I think
fitting.
so. He's just the bane of the Joe.
He's fucking awful.
I don't think I died to him in 4.
I didn't remember that whenever he starts his little flood thing, that you're supposed to zap him with lightning.
Neither did I, and I lived.
Fuck you.
Actually, I think I might have remembered one of the times I hit him with lightning because I'm like, I bet you thunder would do a lot. Yeah. Or thunder, not lightning. Retarded. Most hated enemy for me? Ah, man. It's more like a random thing that happens, but when I got hit by 2 Chimera heads that back attacked me,
yeah.
and they did this blue flame attack, and it killed everybody but one person. That's my least favorite. The back attacks in this game are through the roof, which we should have mentioned in gameplay, but there's a lot of them sneaking up on you, and there's a lot of the random battles happening. And I don't know, you kind of get used to it after a little while, but when you have an objective in mind, it's stressful.
Something I forgot to mention earlier on in gameplay is that going back to random battles after not doing random battles for so long
It's rough.
it's it's kind of a rough transition. And
just get like
especially
mad when it happens.
it just
like,
seemed to me that the whenever you were pressing the run function, which was all the time, of course.
Well, you didn't just turn it on in the menu?
The rate, no, I didn't turn it on automatic. The rate of the random battles was so high. It was like I would get out of a random battle, literally like 2 tiles I would move, and then another one.
Yeah.
And of course I'm running, so that literally takes half a second. And it's like, oh God, not another one. And like when you're lost in a dungeon, which I was lost a few times in the giant dungeon, and I was lost a lot in the fucking cave that you have to keep revisiting in the earlier on stuff.
Yeah, you didn't memorize the thing?
I did after the 4th fucking time.
Oh, okay.
That shit gets fucking annoying when you have to deal with random battles and finding a place. And I've complained about that this entire series. But it's just bad.
It's crazy in this game. So yeah, as far as the as far as regular enemies go, I'd say that combination, the double down of those guys and the preamp attack was pretty annoying. And boss fight, I'm gonna have to go with Titan in Rydia's Tale. That guy really gave me a hard time.
Okay.
Tied with
Titan. Oh yeah, Titan was tough. I remember that.
Tied with the Magus sisters in the final chapter.
Easy cheese.
I don't know. I
How
wasn't
come
able.
me and you are never have problems on the same boss?
I don't know.
We always have problems on different bosses.
We have different play styles, I think is what it is.
Alright.
But I went ballistic on that, okay? What happened is I got pissed, right? I lost for like the 4th time on the Magus sisters. I'm freaking out. I'm like, oh my God, I need to play this game, but I need to go to bed and I need to study. I have homework, I have sleep, I have work. I just lose it, right? And I like get up, kick my chair down to the ground. The wheel's sticking up, it's spinning, all just making me mad, just to do this stupid little motion, and I kick the wheel and it just shatters. Like just obliterates the thing, and then I'm like, fuck that. I pick the chair up, I slam it on the ground, I step on the back of it, just shatter the thing. There's like plastic fucking everywhere in this living room now. Oh man, I was so pissed. I obliterated one of our precious few chairs that we use on this Saturday for our podcast. So I had to sit in this stupid green stool piece of shit here that's just insta ass pain for Nude Clan. But that fight was really stressful, but I think that was a combination of a lot of things. Because I died about the same amount of times as I did to Titan, but thankfully I wasn't streaming during that. People were like, holy shit, dude.
Dude.
You're scaring me, dude.
Scary.
Yeah.
All right. You want to talk about the legacy of the game a bit?
Yeah, we could do that.
So it's been 8 years since this was originally released in Japan on the phones, right? 2008?
Yeah, 7, 8-ish years, yeah.
7, 8-ish years. Okay. And I don't ever remember the mobile phone thing. I'm not ever sure if it came over here on the mobile phones, but I remember it coming out on Wii and it not being very well received. Now, when you were doing your making of thing, you said it was relatively well received. Was that correct?
Yeah, a lot of sites, it's like 7.
Okay.
7 out of 10 is the average.
So, yeah.
It's decent. I mean, the series is famous.
It's
for
not
being
badly
just,
reviewed, but it's not
just blown.
It's
Yeah.
not a 9.
No,
out of 10.
it's not. It's not main series quality and review.
So it's a bit of a step down to the critics, and I gotta say for the fans, and there was a guide that I had to look at sometimes when I was going through the moon for a couple of the bosses. He was bashing on the fact that like Theodore had no character development, and that the creator was a stupid. Was a stupid final boss with like no real motive, and that he just seemed like an kind of out of place thing, which I saw some of, but I don't think he's a Deus Ex Machina. Well, he's definitely not a Deus Ex Machina. That's not actually the right way of saying that.
What?
He wasn't random. He wasn't as random as like Final Fantasy IX's final boss was, because these mysterious girls were a thing. So there was actually like build up to the boss. It wasn't just like, oh, suddenly I am evil and I have come down. Kind of like the actual ending boss to the original FF4, I think was actually more out of place than the creator.
Yeah,
Necessarily.
I would say that. I think that guy's either an idiot or a fanboy of the original. So
which I assume is what it is, and I'm sure we have listeners that are really big fans of Final Fantasy IV and probably not big fans of this, because it doesn't really delve too much into character except for into Kain.
yeah,
Everybody else does not really have their place in the sun more than just, maybe 10 minutes worth of cutscenes.
yeah, Kain and Cecil, I'd say, and Theodore. They're important, but I don't know.
It is, I have seen the reviews as badly written fan fiction, a fan fiction version of Final Fantasy IV. And I don't agree with that assessment, but as far as I can tell on the internet from the things I've observed, and of course this is the internet we're talking about, so everybody's just angry all the time.
Yeah, they're all a bunch of fucking pussies, too.
You're either angry or you're super excited. There's no in between. There's no conversation. As far as I can tell, it is this it's just a disappointment, I think.
Yeah?
Yeah. As far as Legacy is concerned, not that I agree with it, but it seems like it's a disappointment. But shall we get into what our listeners thought of the game, or do you have anything else to say? What have you seen the audience reaction be?
There's a few people that really like it. Obviously, Steve. He's a big fan of it. One of our listeners. He's always going off about it. He loves Kain. So this game was like made for him, essentially.
Okay.
And for the most part, it's negative. Every time I hear somebody talk about that, they're like, "Oh, that game sucks." And I don't agree. I think it's possibly better than a few of the main series games.
I like how I did the fake cough and you did a real one.
Yeah, and I'm not ashamed to say that.
Okay.
I think that's perfectly acceptable. I think
it's better than the first three.
And nostalgia blinds those who disagree with that, I would find. Not that those are bad games necessarily. It's just this one has more going for it. So
if you like FF4, I don't see why you wouldn't like the nostalgia, unless you're looking for like something really deep.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. Should probably look elsewhere as a whole.
Should probably.
Like books.
So what else we got here, Schweiss?
We actually have one more question that was lost in the mix, posted in the wrong area.
So before we get to our audience reviews of the game,
yeah, we'll touch this real quick. This one's from Really511. He says, "Hey guys, what character do you think changed the most? That was in FF4. That's in the after years.
Fucking Cecil."
Yeah,
yeah. He changed. I mean, he changed back to being himself, but like part of the big story plot was that Cecil changed a shitload.
Yeah, I'm seeing Golbez and Kain in the answers. Okay. And Edge, I guess.
Edge matured a bit.
I would say
Palom's a dick. I would say Cecil. Cecil's the most out of place, but that's part of the plot. So,
yeah, I don't know. I think Cecil Kain, Golbez. I'd agree with all three of those. They all changed to their own extents, and they come back to who they really are. It's
Okay.
good.
All right. Our audience reviews of our forum members' reviews of Final Fantasy IV.
Yep. First one up, Shinru or Shinryu.
Okay. He's always like the first to pop on there.
It's
Thanks,
true.
Shinru. I remember when the After Years was announced, and a lot of Final Fantasy IV fans were hyped, but some were angry that Square Enix was making yet another sequel to an FF game. When it came out on Wii, I remember some people really loving it and others really hating it. FF4 fans that played FF4 when it came out, I remember were saying they felt very old at seeing an old Cecil in After Years and that they had children of their own, so it felt almost like a game for them. I didn't play it until it came out on the PSP. At first, I was happy to continue the story, but honestly, I only really liked a few aspects about the game and felt that the whole episodic stories thing wasn't well done. I really enjoyed some of the new music tracks, though the theme that plays whenever you encounter the mysterious girl is cool.
All right, fair enough. He also finds Edge's story entertaining and Rydia's too, and that was about it. There is that whole thing where you find those rare enemy tail color drops during the character episodes and After Years to get their best weapons later on, but I only did a few of those because they were tedious. I had a bunch of the rat tail things, but I didn't ever use it. He says the moon cycle thing was interesting, and he sort of enjoyed it, but honestly, the only part of the game he really liked is the final dungeon area, where you have all the characters and do the long trek through the final area to the boss. It reminded me of FF5's final area, to the void,
Yep,
with
it
a ton of
reminded me of that
bosses
too.
on the way down. Yep. I enjoyed it. The final boss art style looked kind of weird, but I really enjoyed the fight and thought the story was entertaining enough that I would play the final chapter of FF4 The After Years again sometime.
Gabranth says, I think FF4 The After Years did an excellent job of tying up the story from FF4. The ending of FF4 didn't bother me as much as it bothers other people, but I definitely see where they're coming from. And on that note, I think The After Years did a great job of making up for that. I feel that it's a bit darker. Someone dies. Someone does die for good, at least when I played it.
Yeah, I feel ya.
Should have had Theodore in your party and Rosa. I liked all of the new characters, although a few are useless, like Edge's crew and Harley. Sorry, did I say Harvey earlier? I meant Harley. But they are good story-filling characters. Kane is my favorite character in the FF series. I feel that he has redeemed himself even further in the After Years, and as the Holy Dragoon, one
One of, if not the most powerful combat character in FF gameplay.
Gameplay, story, characters, music were all outstanding, and the difficulty of the boss battles suits me perfectly. I thought it was a great game. The complete collection was done very well, and in my opinion, is the best version.
Oh, he's a real fan of our words. All right, so Minzara says, I enjoy it for what it was. FF4 is one of my favorite FF games, but I thought the game lacked the magic, or maybe nostalgia, that the original had. It's a very middle-of-the-road game, if you ask me. Nothing about it was amazing, FF7, and didn't suck, FF2. Overall, it was just meh. I would recommend people at least play it for the complete FF4 story. See, I can get behind that.
All right. I think our last one here is Cloud. He says, I enjoyed the gameplay very highly. I enjoyed the gameplay highly. I added the very.
You fool.
Yeah, sorry. The large number of characters and strategy give more replay value. The story was decent for the first half, i.e. before the tales are combined. It built up suspense for what was going on inside the castle. However, the story dies after resolving what happened in the castle. I'll just go to the moon and kill stuff. I felt it was excessive in how much we literally returned to every single place of the old game with the same quest, curing desert fever, fighting the Kraken in the lake, etc. This was a negative. It's good as fan service, not good as a standalone game. Some fair points there.
Yeah. As a standalone, I mean, it doesn't really hold. I think it still holds some weight, but only if you've played 4.
See, and I actually disagree. I feel like it was kind of a slog through the first half of the game, going through every single quest. It was cool. Like, it was a cool gimmick. Like the first 4 of those.
Yeah, I kind of feel
I was like, Jesus Christ, let's move on with this stuff. And then it did, and so I liked it after that. And then just the dungeon was like, is it really still going? Yes, it is. Holy shit.
Yeah, and it's like, this is brutal, yet I love it.
So I disagree, but thank you for your reviews, guys. All right, Troy, shall we get to our overall score and our ranking?
Let's.
So far, this has been a pretty positive review of Final Fantasy for the after years. In general, I think we both appreciate the story, at least a lot of aspects of the story, right?
Yeah.
I think we both very much enjoyed the gameplay, and I felt like most of the changes that they made to the gameplay were improvements.
I could side with that opinion. Yeah,
Okay.
that's good.
The music, of course, was mostly Nobuo's original work, and the new music fit well enough that we didn't notice most of it. So I'd say the music is good. The design, of course, looks great on the PSP. Schweiss, your overall feelings, and was there anything that you felt was like really lacking with this game?
Best spin-off ever thus far.
Best sequel.
Sequel,
I wouldn't
yeah,
call it
sorry.
a spin-off.
It's kind of spin-off.
Oh, it's the same characters. I feel like that's sequel. If it's spin-off, then it's like only one of the characters, or not even.
Yeah, I
in
guess
my
each
opinion.
section is kind of spin-offy.
Yeah.
I think overall it's worth playing. If you got 30 hours, knock it out. 30 to 40 hours.
Our final times were mine was 37 hours and 10 minutes with everything added together. Kind of a guesstimation on the Rydia quest, which I assumed was like 2.5 hours. And then your final time was 39 hours and 9 minutes, which is about 2 hours. What is it? It's 1 hour and 59 minutes more than my time.
Yeah.
Which I'm kind of surprised of. Maybe that's why the final boss was so hard on me.
Well, I was lower level than you, though. I don't know how I got the extra time. Actually, I do know how. It was because I spent forever in Palom's Tale just grinding.
Oh, okay. All right. That's fair enough.
You know, look at that, 312. That shit ain't 3 hours. I'll tell you that. Yeah, go get it. I mean, if you have the game and haven't played it for some reason, I'd say go for it. Yeah. It's worth your time. Go through, do the stuff that we didn't have time to do. Do those extra dungeons. Get to that final zone and just be able to choose whatever fucking party you want. Have them at God status and just plow that shit.
Yeah, it would be kind of fun to have like a God team.
Yeah.
Go through all the levels of the moon and just like kick ass.
Yeah, see how fast you can beat it by just power grinding in the pre-tail.
I mean, it's literally 30 floors, and my time for that was 15 hours and 50 minutes, and yours was 17:21.
Yeah.
For that final dungeon. I mean, it's kind of like, it's fucking crazy. It's fucking crazy, like how long that dungeon takes, but it never feels old or boring or anything because it switches up so much. It would be funny. I would like to see someone speed run that, and see just how long it takes them to get through all 30 levels.
Maybe this would be our. Maybe this is what our Final Fantasy careers will turn into once we are done. Speed running after years.
Our Final Fantasy careers.
Yeah.
Get on the Patreon, guys.
Yeah, no, like one white mage playthrough of FF1. Everyone else is dead the whole game.
There you go.
Yeah.
Let's do
all
that.
ninjas.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah, that'd be bullshit.
Overall, I actually really liked the game. I don't think it's necessarily main series quality after
4.
After 4, I think it is a better game in my opinion than 1, 2, or 3. But of course, we'll rank that. We'll rank this as well as the other direct sequels and prequels to the games at the end of this season.
Right.
Schweiss, I very much I like the game overall. I liked it.
Yeah, and it's almost like the reverse effect I feel that 4 had. Because 4, everyone was like, dude, you got to play 4. You got to get to 4. 4 is amazing. 4 is amazing. 4 is amazing.
And
4 is
never played it
amazing.
before, yeah.
And I get to 4, and I'm like, yeah, this is way better than 1 through 3. But then the end, just like, it just jizzes on itself. It's like it
Sacrifices
comes
don't mean
too quick.
anything,
Yeah, it
and
throws it all away, and that was frustrating to me.
Really boring wedding.
So I feel like perhaps this game we're receiving it so well because all we've heard, except for from one person who we know is the ultimate 4 fanboy in our community, most everyone else is like, I do not like After Years. Almost unanimous negativity towards this game. I felt, at least as far as like our listeners are concerned, if they've even played the fucking thing. And I don't know, maybe that's part of it. Maybe I was like, oh God, this game. Then we get into it, and it's like, this is fun. I like it.
I liked the final dungeon, which was half the game, like the most.
It is basically, it's at least a quarter of the game, which is substantial considering there's like a billion little tales before you get to the main one. So it was cool, and finding the bands. I mean, I know you just printed off your little.
I printed off a
cheap
Wikipedia
fucking
list
sheet,
to see what bands were available.
There's a bunch, isn't there?
I didn't want to spend my time during random battles going, does this one work? How
Yeah.
about this? How about this?
Yeah, and I
Didn't
thought
wanna
that
do
was a
that.
fun discovery thing, but
Yeah.
and it's not that pertinent to where I need it. It's just really helpful at times when
And they're
you need
good moves.
Yeah, when I need 10,000 damage, just like that, fuck it, I'll pull it out. But yeah, I thought that was fun.
Yeah.
Cool new elements
I think it's a solid game. I'm going to be sad when we have to get to 10-2
in a while
in a while.
after the 7 stuff.
7 stuff and
Of course.
maybe a long hike.
Yeah, perhaps we'll see how long the 7 ones take us. They're not very long
see.
games.
We will see. Schweiss, we don't have rankings for the series yet. Can you find a pen for me from over there? Your pen ran out of stuff.
Don't you be talking about my pen on the show?
I'm sorry.
We're not that way.
Pen 15.
Yeah, Boo
You want to join
65.
the Pen 15 club?
I was always a Boo 65 fan myself. I was all about that.
Oh, nice. Okay, I didn't even realize what you were talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, I get it. Yeah, that would seem like a much better club.
I
to
know,
be a
but
part of
everyone
personally.
everyone always wanted the Pen 15 from me, but I just
Oh, does anybody want the Pen 15 from you now?
I believe so.
Oh, okay, all right.
God, that is ancient. I haven't said that in years, dude.
Junior high,
Yeah,
middle school,
probably middle
junior
school.
high for me.
All right, so what are you writing down? What is this shit?
Okay, so we're not going to do rankings with the rest of the series till the end.
Right.
We are going to do rankings against Final Fantasy IV and against other sequels. But since there's no other sequels to rank it against, since it's our first sequel we've ever gotten to, and it's the first one I've ever beat, sequels I've ever beat. You've beat Crisis Core, though.
And Dirge.
And Dirge, okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to be replaying some of your games here
Yep.
coming up.
Beat Crisis Core asleep.
The only things that we have to go against, and I'm going to assume we're just going to wrap Interlude up with the After Years, because it feels just like a bonus After Years quest.
Yeah, like a chapter.
Yeah, it feels like an extra chapter. So
Yeah.
that's how we're going to look at it here. Schweiss. Ah, shit. Your pen. Okay. Schweiss, is it better or worse than the original Final Fantasy IV?
Worse.
Worse? That
Yep.
was a quick one.
Well, I don't know. It's almost the same argument as my roommate thinks the new Star Wars movie is the best one. He's got some valid points, but I feel like it only exists in the form it is because of the ones before it. They played it safe. They played it right. Didn't take any chances, which made for a fun viewing experience, but not an experimental and amazing experience. I felt the same way about After Years. Fun. They didn't take that many risks.
Yeah.
Did a risk with the series, which I thought worked very well. That shit came out of nowhere and was awesome. And I think that's what Gabranth has been talking about. Like, I don't want to spoil the story for you, but some cool stuff happens.
And we just spoiled the story for our listeners out there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they
too
get.
bad. Yeah.
Play this shit. And then, yeah, I don't know. You do the same? Is that
Mine is the same ranking. It was actually like when I beat the game just barely, I was like, yeah, I really liked it. And then I was like, oh, fuck, am I going to rank it above FF4? And then, just 30 minutes later, I'm like, no, I'm not going to rank it above FF4.
Yeah. It's like, remember the
Like,
pain?
I got to remember all of FF4. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's great. Personally, I think the stronger part of the game was actually it's after the first 8 chapters.
Yeah.
And then it gets really strong, in my opinion. And it gets really fun. I think it's more about the funness of the game than actually the story.
Yeah, and see,
which I thought was fine, and
Yeah.
I think it's a decent story. I don't know.
Well, yeah, it doesn't always have to be about the story.
It ain't FF4 though.
No.
It ain't FF4, but I do think it's decent.
Yeah, I think we could both side with that. And I my favorite tale was probably the Fabul one. And like, I totally forgot where to go. I forgot I was going to the palm tree, but I loved it. I loved just fighting dudes with the the kick move.
Mine's the same.
Untouchable with those motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Like, they start out real weak, but when you get going, man, they are powerhouses. So I don't know. It was good.
Yeah, I had a good time playing this game.
Psych.
I think.
I'm just kidding. Part 3 and 4, the real review.
No. I think we're actually done here with this review. It's tough because this review is actually quite a bit shorter than the previous Final Fantasies. Like fucking Final Fantasy 12's 4-hour review.
Yeah.
But you know, if this was a brand new game and this wasn't exactly what Final Fantasy 4 was, plus like changes, it would be a different story. But
yeah, it's true.
I thought overall good experience, and I think it's totally worth. I know PSP is kind of a dead system now, but go get the complete edition.
Yeah, if you got a PSP. If not, you can pick one up for pretty cheap, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's great. I think that's going to be it for this episode, Schweiss.
Yeah. Shit.
Do some plugs. YouTube.com/Ultimate Final Fantasy, Facebook.com/Ultimate Final Fantasy, Twitch.tv/Ultimate Final Fantasy. See Caleb stream Crisis Core.
Oh, yeah.
In the next few weeks. And then let's see what else. Oh, yeah. Support us on Patreon. $1 a month gives you the episodes early, plus a bonus episode with us with us watching Advent Children and doing a commentary of it while also doing a drinking game.
Brutal.
Which I had some real problems the next day because of that. Actually, that night was really bad. You can go to our website, ultimafinalfantasy.com. Join our forums there, please. Join our forums there. That's where we get all these reviews and questions about the games and about other discussion points for other episodes.
Stirs the pot.
That's true.
It's good.
It does stir some pot.
Yes, it does. Also, check out some of our other shows that we have. We've got Nude Clan Gaming. It's a general gaming podcast. We have game reviews every other week. It's a really fun show. Joe and I, our friends Caleb and Cameron, join in. And we just play shit and talk about stuff.
Yep.
It's a lot of fun.
Nude Clan as in naked. Nude
Yes.
Clan. Super Sexy Swinging Fan Fiction, a bad fan fiction podcast.
Yes.
Which, of course, you can join Caleb and Jake as they go along in their little adventures.
And sometimes an occasional guest, but the guy's kind of a scrub, so I don't know. We don't let him on all the time.
I don't like him that much anyway.
Yeah, I don't know.
And then our final podcast, let's see. Oh, Godzilla podcast. Me and Drew. If you like Godzilla, you'll like our little commentaries for the Godzilla movie. So come look for us. All those things can be found on iTunes. So check them out. We'll see you guys next week.
And as always, enjoy the grind, you guys.
This has been another production of Ultima Final Fantasy, the Ultimate Final Fantasy Podcast. The show was produced by Joseph DeGollier and Caleb Schweiss, with music and editing by Joseph DeGollier, parodies and clips from their respective authors, of course. You can get all of our episodes as well as our Let's Plays at ultimafinalfantasy.com. You can also contact us on Twitter at UFF Podcast, as well as our contact page on our website. Be sure to subscribe and review our podcast. Your reviews may get read on the show, and look forward to the next episode of Ultima Final Fantasy, the Ultimate Final Fantasy Podcast.